Kephart liked a really small hatchet from back in that era. And you know you have it the right length. Hello, welcome to WayPoint Survival. Today, we're going to show how to put up the George tent that Horace Kephart liked and used. You're going to like it. Stay tuned. For over 100 years, the name Horace Kephart has been associated with the outdoors, with camping, and with all the classic things that we love about the outdoors. His books have been read and loved by thousands, more than likely millions of people have enjoyed his wonderful prose and his poetic approach to the outdoors. Of course, fundamentally important to the founding of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which so many of us have visited and loved. Horace Kephart, being a writer for many magazines and some 400 articles or so, as well as several books, he used a lot of different gear. And like a lot of us modern bushcrafters, campers, and survival instructors, we test out a lot of items, and he did too. And so often he would try different types of tents, and you will see different configurations in his books, his writings, as well as in photographs. A lot of it would depend on whether he was backpacking in, or canoeing, or some other method of transportation. One of the tents that he used, which I'm a great admirer of, is called the George tent. I have a friend named Jay Hercules, and he sews and makes all kinds of items out of canvas, reproduction goods, as well as more modern bushcraft type gear. And so I contacted him and I told him what I was wanting to do and explained it to him, and he got together with Sarge Vining, many of you watch his channel, and got the schematics, and they drew it out, and Sarge got all the specs for him, and so he sewed this for me. I've had this for several months working on this series, and I wanted to take a specific time and just make a video on how to put up the George tent. We're carrying the whole thing here in the Kephart pack, and I got this through Dave Canterbury. What's unique about this tent is, just like the original, it only weighs 5.5 pounds. So Jay was able to actually find the original type canvas material that was made back in the 1920s. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open it up and put it on the ground in its configuration. It has a door in the front, so I'll get that spread out and show you what that looks like. So here you can see the general shape of it. It's long in the front when it's laid out flat, and the sides scoop in toward the back, and then it's flat across the rear. So here's a little closer shot of the front. You can see how it scoops down the sides, flat across the back, and down the other side. The reason that I like this tent so much, and I think perhaps the reason that Horace Kephart liked it, not only because it was really light, but because it affords really good protection, and it really only needs a single point of attachment. Now, in future videos, I will probably show at least one other way to set this up, maybe a couple ones, but all you really need is one stick in the very front. And so it allows you to camp very easily. If you don't have a stick, you can actually use a tree or a branch, something that's up overhead. It's very versatile, it's very easy to hang, and depending on how you put it up, it doesn't take a whole lot of cord either. So what we've got to do is we've got to find a Y stick of about 7 feet tall, something like that, so a little over 2 meters. And we've got our small hatchet. Kephart liked a really small hatchet. This one's a little bit smaller than his. He liked them about 12 inches long with a 12-ounce head. This one's more like 10.5 inches. But we also have saws from back in that era. And folding saws, pruning saws would have been used, but they used hatchets and axes a lot more. So we're going to go find us a nice Y stick of the right dimensions, and we're going to bring it back and put up this George tent. And now I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Tecovas Boots. Now, I've been wearing these boots for several months now, and I just have to say that they are getting more and more comfortable all the time. While they are comfortable right out of the box and they have that already broken in feeling, they've only improved with wearing them. From experiencing their extreme waterproof construction in creek crossings and the like, to splitting wood in the winter as well as in the spring, from hiking on the trails of southern Ohio to riding bikes on backcountry trails, these Tecovas long-haul mock-toe boots really get the job done. Their solid handmade construction with heavy-duty brass eyelets and speed hooks look good in the country as well as for that occasional trip to town. The muck-off tread pattern really does work well on muddy trails, and cleanup is a breeze. Just a little bit of scrubbing with a stiff bristle brush, a reapplication of some boot oil, and I'm ready to go again. So if you'd like to own a pair of rugged, durable boots that can just keep going mile after mile, you can click on the link in the description box below, or you can scan the QR code that's been showing on your screen. And while you're there, make sure and check out the other great selections of work boots as well as cowboy boots that Tecovas has to offer. And again, thanks so much to Tecovas Boots for sponsoring this video and WayPoint Survival. Okay, we found a good candidate here. It's about the right diameter. Now, for many of you that don't own property, or you don't work in the woods a lot, if you look around me, there are so many trees, a bunch of seedlings and saplings. Most of them won't make it. I can take you through the woods and I can show you a whole bunch of stuff that's pole-sized that has just died out. What happens is these trees are always dropping seeds and nuts, things like that, that will grow. And they'll grow. Some trees might plant 100 seedlings a year from all of the nuts that drop. What happens is if you don't thin them out, they'll just die off anyway. And when you do thin them, it allows the other trees a chance to grow. So this one right here, this is about the right size, about the right length. It's got a good little Y branch at the top. So this is the one that we're going to take. And that'll do. Now the first thing that we want to do is we want to stake out the two in the very back. And we're going to stretch it out a little bit like this. Get it kind of tight. And now the back's down. Next, we've got to put our Y branch in the very front. Now, there is a loop right here in the very center, and that goes on the Y branch. This goes straight up and down, and you know you have it the right length when the bottom of this touches the ground. When this is straight up and down and the bottom touches. Next, we come to the attachment point here that is closest to the front where the flaps are, and we stretch this out and put a stake in it right here. And we do the same thing to the other side. Now the stick is just laying down. It's in the loop, but we're going to find this point here, and we're going to pull this out, and we're going to try to make this a square base as much as possible. Now you may have to adjust this a little bit, so this is going to take a little bit of work the first time you put it up. All right, we got all four corners now. The back first, make sure the pole's the right height, and then put our front pegs in. Next, we take a slip knot with a stop knot, again just a very simple affair, and we put it right here over top of the small one so it holds the canvas down. And once you do this a couple of times, you'll have your cord pretty well pre-measured out, so you know how far it needs to go down to your stake. Now, when you do this, make sure that your stake is pretty straight in the center of the George tent, like this. So pretty much straight up and down and side to side. And then figure out about how much you want. I like to copy kind of the angle on the back, so you have almost a 45. That gives you a lot of strength. There's different ways you can tie this off. I'm just going to do something really simple. Wrap it around and some quick half slippery hitches here. All right, that'll work. Now, to make us have the most amount of room on the inside, there are also loops here. And so we can pull these out and stake those down. And there's another one in the back directly in the center, and we pull this out, make it tight, and if we've got it staked out properly, it should look something like this, and you'll be able to tie the door shut around the pole. And you can do this inside if you want, or outside, depending on if you're leaving the tent, coming back, or whatnot. But yeah, nice and sturdy, it's good and strong, only using one pole, single attachment right there at the top. As far as inside goes, there's plenty of room. Again, because this is, 6.5, 7 feet tall, it has really good headspace inside. You can throw this back like this. So if the weather gets really hot, you can open it up for plenty of ventilation. Going inside, there's a lot of space. There's plenty of room to lay down and stretch out. You can either go across this way or diagonally, and you can put your feet to the back if you wish, like this. And again, plenty of coverage. There's all kinds of room in here. And with the teepee type style tent here, the George tent actually sheds water really well. So fantastic design, super lightweight, and very effective. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to set up the George tent. And I really like it. And this is in preparation for an upcoming series called Camp Like Kephart. At least that's the working title. And I'm busy putting together all the gear, getting everything ready. And I also want to give a shout out and a big thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. Your consistent monthly giving and supporting the channel really helps us purchase gear like this, as well as all the other things that we've been working on for going on 2 years, I think, to try to put together this series for you. I think it's going to be exciting, and not just to my patrons, but to everybody who watches, who shares, who subscribes and gives those thumbs up and all of those likes across the various platforms that I post on, as well as just making comments for the algorithm. Again, greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. This is James Bender for WayPoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll also find the link for Tecovas boots. And again, a great big thank you to Tecovas for sponsoring this video. You'll find our link for the WayPoint Survival digital class. And this is where you can train in the comfort and convenience of your own backyard the top 20 skills that we consider to be the most important from our Phase 1 Survival and Bushcraft class. You'll also find the link for WayPointSurvival.com. And this is where you can sign up for in-person classes, where we personally train you in all the ways of survival and bushcraft. I think you'll really enjoy the classes. Make sure and check it out, as well as the required gear list. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.